are we doing today? Great. That's the answer. We are great. Students, you look great. Thank you for being here, all dressed up and eager to celebrate this cheerful milestone in the lives of your friends, parents, and board members. You have played such an important role, and often that role is unsung in the scholarly life of this community. Thank you for the role you play, and continue to play. And thank you for being here this afternoon. To my colleagues and faculty, in the most tangible of all ways, the relationships you built with these young scholars have encouraged them in them the academic skills and habits so that they can become leaders within the spirited world, the spirited community of human minds. So for just a few minutes this afternoon, we pause and we focus on intellectual promise and promises kept. We shall welcome students into two different honor societies. Let me just say that the induction into these societies is worthy of our time and is worthy of our attention. The selection committee has invested many hours in the process, and I thank Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Caldwell, and Ms. Sedgley for leading this work and planning this event. Thank you very much. Introduce you to someone whose family I admire since I began my own career 30-something years. Chapel Love, the sister of 5 Tilton graduates, graduate of Tilton School herself, has spent her personal and professional lives building empowering relationships within her incredible family, among her friends on this campus, in the church, the team she played on, captained, and coached at Tilton School, at Vassar College, at Clarkson University, and out in Manhattan. 1998 Vassar graduate, Chapel has focused her professional relationship building in athletics and in community affairs. As an NCAA coach in lacrosse and field hockey, as an advocate for high school and college-age students trying to make it into and survive in college. As a counselor and advocate for women on the margins, Chapel understands better than most of us that we do our best and we use our voice to lift each other up. Chapel, her husband Rick, and her 3 sons, Odin, Trey, and Kate, will return to our Tilton community in a few months. Chapel will become a social science faculty, coach, and continue to use her voice to create empowering relationships on this campus. Please, with me, welcome from the class of 1994, Chapel Love.
Sending them up to get their pajamas is a full contact sport. Center stage at the bathroom sink is suddenly the most coveted spot in the entire house. And not because anyone wants to use the water to say, wash their face or brush their teeth. Sending them upstairs to get into bed is like watching And so in my last feed of the day, I said goodnight to my younger son and climbed up on the bed to reach over and say goodnight to my 7-year-old, Bowden. But before I could secure him under the covers, he propped himself back up on his elbow and he said, "Mommy, I think I figured something out. I don't think God is real." So I know what you're thinking. Are you wondering if you're going to have to listen to a debate on the existence of God in the next few hours? And I know that because I was thinking exactly the same thing at that moment. But I leaned over to him and I said, "Why? What do you think?" And he said, "Well, I just don't think that God could be real because I feel like He couldn't have just created people and the earth just like that." He said, "I think science has done a really good job of showing that evolution happened and that there were dinosaurs here before us and that the universe is really, really old and that we have relatives that are apes." But I just want to insert here that Rick's family is really, really nice. So he said, I don't think that God's real. Now, as a parent, here's what struck me. I wasn't expecting this kind of conversation that night. And I wasn't expecting Bowden to come to this conclusion. As a homeschooler, I spent all day with Bowden doing projects, reading, cooking, gardening, writing. But I had no idea that my 7-year-old had gradually been moving toward becoming an atheist. Here he was under my nose, but unbeknown to me, grappling with this huge question. And that night, something had prompted him to reconcile the information that he saw as relevant, commit to a point of view, and just put it out there. And I was his audience. You know, a year before, I thought we had checked the box off on this one. We were living in Connecticut at the time, and the cool, presumably more well-informed 8-year-old next door, probably the same one that's eating worms and dandelions in Iowa, leaned over the fence for a heart-to-heart with Bowden and shared with him the story of Jesus' crucifixion in the most graphic way he could remember. And then, for good measure, followed it up with an explanation of what's in store for all of us if we lie, or sit for candy, or torment the dog in the depths of the fiery lake. Oh, he's a pretty sensitive kid. And so we spent the better part of the day processing how he felt about the cruelty that exists in the world and trying to understand the role that religion has in the lives of people around us. This all happened around Easter, and shortly after, Bodie, then 6, declared he knew that Jesus was the Son of God because he had died and people saw him 3 days later alive. He had to be a God. So how are we here? Coming back to this question, my son now confidently asserting a full reversal in his position on the matter. Well, to me, Bowden was exhibiting the very things that I hope he will continue to have define his education in all areas as he moves forward. First, he's willing to tackle big questions. I've been very open with my son that I don't and cannot know definitively whether God exists. And that interests him. He's looked up at this huge more thoughtful about his path. And he's seeking out stronger footholds in the history section of the library, in conversations with his aunt, who teaches biology, in conversations with his grandmother about why she prays for him each night. And at certain points in this ascension, his climb of what I can only see as a massive walk, a cliff, he's put in pins. That night, as I tucked him in, that is what he had done. He had anchored himself and taken a moment to really define his position. This pin, this anchor, provides him with a couple of things. First, it gives him the opportunity to reflect. He's taken the opportunity to state his position out loud so he can feel it out, the authenticity of it. This is a risk, a potentially big one for him. This 7-year-old realizes there are people in his life, important people to him, whose worlds, as far as he knows, are going to be rocked by the knowledge that their God does not exist. And he's testing it on me. How it will feel to break this news to them. How it feels to assert. Second, he's offering this position as an anchor to me as well. He's extended his perspective to me with the full expectation that if I agree with it, we will move forward from this point together. He sees us as collaborators, but in this moment, he's taken the lead. And he's done it confidently and with conviction. He's unapologetically moved away from earlier positions because with the security of this new anchor, he can plan the path ahead. His next step won't feel quite so far from the ground. Tonight, we are honoring those of you who have demonstrated through your academic curiosity and achievement your own willingness to ask big questions and to take on difficult and exhilarating times of your own. Tilton has played an important part in that process by providing you with good, solid footholds and by challenging you at times to put you a fraction of an inch and still move forward. As you leave this familiar terrain, I encourage you to still tackle the big questions, no matter how daunting they are to you or anyone around you. Start the assembly. Recognize the footholds where they exist and approach risk with a mixture of boldness and consideration. Set your efforts. Use these pins as points of reference for reflection and times to pause and plan your progress. I suspect that Bowden's consideration of the existence of God did not end here. I believe and I hope for him, but I hope for you, that you will continue to find, and that the steps you take will strengthen you and lead you to vantage points that will inspire your mind and your life and those of others around us. Set your pin. Test it out. And know that you can release your grip in order to keep moving forward. Good luck to all of you.
Membership in the National Honor Society is both an honor and a commitment. Students who gain membership into the National Honor Society are expected to strive towards excellence in learning, in citizenship, in service to the community, and in leadership. The Society also recognizes and affirms the fact that there are many ways to complete these goals. Service work can be evident and noticed by many, or have a quietly significant impact. Academic achievement comes easily to some, while others need to work harder in their academic endeavors. Leadership style can reveal itself in the spotlight of a high-energy social engagement, or by making a real difference behind the scenes. And good character comes in many forms, and all of these are essential to a healthy community. This evening, the students we will present to you as new members of the National Honor Society all have their unique styles and have made unique contributions. But they share something in common, a passion for what they do. They are not half-hearted people. When they decide to do something, they do it and they do it well. Whether it is in the classroom, or on the playing field, in the art studio, or on the stage, or just as part of a community of friends and family. Passion and commitment will take them far in life, and these are the traits that we celebrate this evening. Now, our current members, student members of the National Honor Society, will present to you the new inductees for the 2016-2017 academic school year. I'll turn the ceremony over to them. Thank you.
I'm very pleased to introduce our first inductee into the National Honor Society. Jason Bogas is one of the most all-around integral members of this community. He's played varsity sport every season since his freshman year, half nickel, soccer, and lacrosse teams. He's also a leader in the dorm and on the health and wellness. Somehow, Jason still makes time to serve the community by going on various service trips with Tilton and independently. I can personally say he's one of the most enjoyable people to be around and the best friend anyone could ever ask for. Please join me in congratulating Jason Bogas on his acceptance.
I'm honored to introduce our next inductee, Dominique Coleman. I've known and attended school with Dominique for over a decade, and after watching her grow and mature, especially in her last 3 years on campus, I know she's quite deserving of this honor. At Tilton, she serves as an ambassador, varsity soccer captain, and served on student government as her class's disciplinary committee representative for 3 years. She also spends time in her busy schedule to volunteer at the New Hampshire Humane Society. She faces challenges head-on, always with a smile on her face, and has overcome many obstacles to be the strong individual she is today. Please join me in congratulating Dominique Coleman for her acceptance.
I'm very excited to introduce our next inductee to the National Honor Society. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Kirsten Chandang for not only the past 3 years in school, but outside of school as well. Outside of school, I watched her grow in the varsity softball team, varsity field hockey team, the ASA Junior Olympic softball, as well as my visit her Disney Doodle, where her bubbly and happy demeanor is almost as great as the ice cream. Kirsten has also been named a Florence Scholar multiple times, works on the discipline committee in student government, and volunteers at the Veterans Home and a local elementary school. On top of all this, Kirsten still finds more time to volunteer at the Franklin Community Home, as well as donating her time to volunteer during spring break on the trip to the Dominican Republic. Kirsten, your family, friends, and I are all very proud of you. Please join me in congratulating Kirsten Chandang to National Honor.
basketball player and served as captain for the girls cross country team. So please join me in congratulating Maddie Clark for her acceptance into the national honors.
I am honored to stand before you all tonight to recognize Georgia Cullington on her induction to the National Honor Society. Ever since Georgia arrived, she's contributed an incredible amount of her time to the community service program at Tilton. She has been recognized with the Coaches Award on the field hockey team, as well as multiple awards for her academic efforts. Please join me in welcoming Georgia Cullington into the National Honor Society.
It is a great pleasure to introduce our next inductee to the National Honor Society. Trevor Frederick has been an active member of the Tilton community since he first arrived to the campus. Freshman year, Trevor was the vice president of his class, as well as an ambassador for the admissions office. In his sophomore year, he became a peer counselor and a proctor, along with joining the World Community Program. Trevor is also a very active athlete. He has played varsity soccer and baseball during each of his years at Tilton. Additionally, he was named captain of the soccer team for this upcoming season. During his spare time, Trevor also enjoys volunteering in his community. He has traveled on a service learning trip to the Dominican Republic, as well as working with the youth through the Congress Sports Center and the Tilton Northfield Little League. Please join me in congratulating Trevor Frederick for his acceptance to the national.
I'm extremely honored to introduce our next inductee to the National Honor Society. In addition to her strong academic performance, Mary Claire Hanley has been a key member of Tilton School's field hockey, ice hockey, and softball teams for the past 2 years. Last year, she was a member of the Eco Rent Club and had a major hand in starting the student run library volunteering program here at Tilton School. Please join me in congratulating Mary Claire Hanley for her acceptance into the National Honor Society.
It is my privilege to introduce our next inductee to the National Honor Society, Tatsu Koda, my roommate for Liz is also a great artist. She created art talk at the local library and served as a teacher. Please join me in congratulating Yun Shen for her acceptance in the National Society.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next inductee to the National Honor Society. Rich Steinberg has served as a dorm proctor, junior and senior class vice president, and a local youth program. Rich also volunteered at the local food pantry in his hometown once a month, making sandwiches for homeless individuals. Rich is also a hockey player, phenomenal cross-country runner, and most importantly, an inspiring bowling golfer. Please join me in congratulating Rich Steinberg for his acceptance on the National.
It is with great honor that I present our next inductee to the National Honor Society. Tommy Lynn, a great friend, a passionate leader, and a joy to be around. Tommy has played an active role in our community, ranging from his work with student government and the student ambassador program, to serving as a dorm proctor and a team captain for Martin South. Tommy was also a part of students and faculty who went to the Dominican Republic on a service learning trip to help serve our community. Tommy will take his talents to Hobart next year as he pursues his passion for soccer and higher athletics. Please join me in congratulating Tommy Wentz for his success.
It's a great pleasure to introduce you as our next inductee to the National Honor Society. Vicky has been an active member in computer productions during her 4 years at Tilton. She acts, helps design sets, and last spring, she wrote and directed her own productions. In her free time, she volunteered to be the translator in the communication department of the Hong Kong University Hospital. She also volunteered in the library with the school kids about literature and writing. Congratulations, Vicky, on your induction to the National Honor Society.
I'm honored to introduce our next inductee to the National Honor Society. Octavia Brown is currently the student governance and assembly committee member for the year. She also contributes to the school committee as a role proctor and director. As an active community service team member, Octavia has worked on different programs from New Hampshire Veterans Home, Study Community Center, to teaching and reading several schools in the past 3 years. She's also an optimistic person and willing to deliver positive influence to the community. Please join me in congratulating Octavia Brown for her success.
A talent in arts, a player on the field, a just disciplined committee member, a trustworthy captain to the JV basketball team, an enthusiastic volunteer, a real genius in science, technology, the first Chinese editor ever of the Tilton newspaper, the outward representation, optimism, and friendliness. Oh, by the way, he's the one that has the best giggles. All of these contributions, this person deserves a position in the National Honor Society. Congratulations to Mingy Matthew Zhao.
modeled after the Collegiate Society Phi Beta Kappa, topic is Latin phrase meaning good praise. At Tilton, we've set a very high bar for the meaning of this phrase. Seniors must improve scores in the top 4% of SAT and ACT test takers nationwide. We enrolled in advanced level courses at Tilton and earned top academic achievement at combined grades in these classes. At Tilton, the expression cum laude also signifies a commitment to the community, its people, and its variety of programs, a real commitment, a commitment that transcends what is deemed. This year is quite an unusual year, and the senior class is quite an unusual class. Typically, the school recognizes one or two students as rising to meet that bar. This year, we will induct 5 members to the graduating class, which is united. They have built themselves an exceptional resume of success in advanced coursework, high test scores, community engagement, and college opportunities. The first inductee has a reputation for some hard-nosed, practical problem solving, and keen, a little ironic, and a little bit of insight as well. He's earned one of the top ACT scores in his class, and in the 7 AP classes he's taken at Tilton. Tilton is proud to welcome Rich Steinberg. Our second inductee is, she's actually not here tonight. She's in France, studying. But she'll return to us in a couple of weeks for baccalaureate exam. I spoke to Sam this afternoon at about noon, and she had just finished meeting with the literary magazine. She put her FaceTime phone outside so that I could see that it was sunny. And she reminded me that a 70-degree warm breeze was coming in off the set. Nice job, Sam. Sam has thrived in 10 AP classes, has a master's 4.0 GPA, and has earned one of the top SAT scores in her class. We are happy to welcome Samantha Saliba. The other student in the class with a 4.0 GPA, Connor has vied with Sam for that top spot for 3 years. In the dorm, in the 6 AP classes, as a friend, Connor solves problems with both his mind and his heart. Connor's a really good guy. Tilton is proud to welcome Connor both into the life. Asa is our board member. Our first impressions of Asa you saw just moments ago, those of you who just met him, his magnificent smile, his frenetic energy, and his social purpose. Behind that smile and his guiding about campus works one of the campus' most creative problem solvers. He's earned his class's highest SAT score and has thrived in 8 AP classes. Asa, check this out, okay? Pronounce your name correctly. We are proud to welcome Jiting Asa John. Our last inductee this evening is Sarah Warren. We all know what Sarah can do
service.
and to lead forward in all things
Lead forward in all things
that shall advance the welfare of the school,
that shall advance the welfare of the school,
the community,
and
and the greater world in which we live.
the greater world in which we live.
Congratulations.
Let us be thankful for the unique talents which each of us is born, for the support of the relationships we have of grace and good guidance. Help us share with others these gifts which we enjoy, gifts of creativity and design, of writing and self-expression, of critical thinking, leadership and service. Help us support and respect all those who work to make our lives challenging, safe, and of value. Grant us the strength to share our talents in ways that honor and enlighten all whom we encounter and all whom we knowingly and unknowingly influence. May we celebrate a noble life to serve others and leave behind lasting achievements and an inspiring legacy. Please be seated.